All right. So today for the final class day one boot camp, my name is Fortman, and I'll be opening the boot camp for the day one. That is the first session for today. All right. And I'll be talking to us about market structures and inefficiencies. All right. And how I'll be laying the foundation, and every other speaker would be doing justice to it. All right. Every other speaker that we have will be doing justice to it. So today we are going to be starting with the basics of structure. From the basics of structure, we're going to delve into advanced market structure. And finally, we're going to be talking about inefficiencies, all right? How we can use the basics and advanced of market structure and inefficiencies to our advantage, all right? So now, one of the first things that I've always said is that the market has two major responsibilities, all right? Many of you know that already. It's like an anthem already for us. But for many people who are just joining us for the first time, those people who just got to know about our live stream, all right. I've always said that the market has two major responsibilities. What is it? All right. The market has two major responsibilities. Number one, to um, attack liquidity and also to rebalance old imbalances. All right. So the two major responsibilities of the market is to attack liquidity and to rebalance old imbalances. So how do we make use of this, to our own advantage, right? How do we put this into perspective and use it to our own advantage in the marketplace? That is one of the major things that we want to actually focus on. So, but first, we want to establish the facts, certain facts about the subject of structure. All right. You've heard people say that structure is king, and then follow the trend and all of those things. All right. So I'm going to be explaining what those things mean. All right. How you can, you know, understand the fact that you need to understand the fact that the bulk of the work in trading comes from understanding structure. The moment you understand structure, I mean, everything becomes very clear. So there are certain words I'm going to be using like breakout structure. And even in the course of the bootcamp, you would also hear most of the speakers use words like breakout. You hear most of the speakers use words like breakout structure. All right. So I want to set the foundation straight. So under the subject of structure, all right, we have what we call the environment of structure. All right. Structure is divided into two. All right. Number one is called the environment. All right. We talk about the environment. And number two, we talk about the face of structure. Now, the environment of structure is divided into three. All right. We have what we call the bullish environment. We have what we call the bearish environment. And we also have what we call the consolidating. All right. We have what we call the consolidating. Under the face of structure is divided into two. We have what we call the reversal phase. All right. And we also have what we call the expansion phase. All right. We have what we call the expansion phase and also the reversal phase. So what that means is that we can be in a bullish market and we can be in the reversal phase of that bullish market. We can be in a bearish market and also be in the reversal phase. We can be in a bullish market and be in the expansion phase. We can be in a bearish market and also be in the expansion phase of that bearish market. When we talk about consolidating, whenever we say that the market is actually consolidating, what that means for us is that the market doesn't have like a definite direction that it is actually headed. Um, the market doesn't have like a definite direction that it's actually headed to. All right. So when we talk about the subject of structure, right? Like I said we have structure is divided into two. We have environment of structure, and also we have what we call the face of structure. All right. We have the face of structure. All right. So the environment of structure is divided into three. Right. The bullish, bearish, and consolidating. And the face of structure is divided into two. We have the reversal and the expansion. So when we begin to talk about the environment of structure, we now begin to talk about bullish environments like this, where price begins to create higher highs, consecutive higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, higher lows, higher highs. All right. So we know that this for us is a bullish environment. All right. But it is not just a bullish environment. One of the things that you need to understand about trading is the ability to be able to interpret the stories. All right. Your ability to be able to interpret the stories behind whatever the market is actually doing. All right. So now this is a bullish environment. Then we have the bearish environment where price begins to make for us consecutive lower lows, lower highs. We have a lower low, lower high. We have a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high. We have a lower low. All right. So this right here, right now, is the bearish environment. All right. And the third one is what we call the consolidating. Under the consolidating, you see that price doesn't have a definite direction. Another word for consolidating is what we call the ranging market. All right. Price doesn't have like a definite direction that it is actually headed to or what. But our primary focus in the market is that we always want to engage a market that is actually trending. The best market we want to engage is a market that is actually trending. We want to go where the money is. All right, that is one of the words we use. Go where the money is, which means go where you know that the market is actually trending. A trending market is where the market that is where the money is. There's inflow and outflow of money. So, like I said, one of the things you can do to yourself is that one of the ways you can simplify technical analysis is by understanding the story that the market is actually pointing out to you. All right. So, for example, you see that the bullish environment and the bearish environment, and the last one I drew was the consolidating. All right, all of these things tells a story. All right, it is inside this environment of structure that you now begin to understand the face of structure. All right, what are the two faces of structure? The face of structure, we have what we call the reversal phase, and we also have what we call the expansion phase. All right, we have the reversal, we have the expansion. So what do I mean by the expansion? For example, when price if we are actually going to be bullish and price is going to be bullish from this point to this particular point, you can see that price was actually bullish, all right, from that bottom to the top. All right, so price moved from this low down to this particular high. But price moving from this particular low to this particular high did a few things. All right, what were the things? You can see that from that bullish structure, we had expansions to the upside. All right, the expansion to the upside is the buy, the reversal is the sell. All right, so in a bullish market environment, every reversal you see is the sell. All right, and every expansion you see is the buy. So that is why we say that the two major responsibilities of the market is to attack liquidity and to rebalance and hold imbalance. When we begin to talk about the basics, the concept of advanced market structure, you now begin to like have a proper understanding of what we are actually referring to overall. So you will see that in a bullish environment, there are two major phases you will always see. You will see that price is actually going to be expanding and price is actually going to be reversing. The reversals that you see in a bullish market is the sell, and the reversals you see, all right, in a bearish market is the buy. So one of the things you need to actually understand about reversals is that reversals are always going to be short term. All right, reversals are not stops you want to, it is not a market you want to hold for long. It is not a market you want to swing. It's always going to be short term. But it is also reversals are also subject to the time frame. All right, there are some reversals that can there are some environment of the market that when it begins to reverse, it can take a week. Now that depends on the time frame. It could be on the weekly, it could be on the daily, it can also be on the 4 hours. Sometimes it can take a whole full day for price to actually reverse. So how long a reversal happens strictly depends on the time frame. So let's continue. So one of the things you need to understand is that in the environment of structure, you begin to understand and see the face of structure. So you will see the face of structure in the environment of structure. And what are the face of structure? You will see the expansion, which is the buy, and you will see the reversal, which is the sell. And the same thing applies to the bearish market. The expansion to the downside is the sell. The reversal to the upside is actually the buy. Now there are a few things you now begin to understand. All right, because those things would actually help you to actually really understand what we are talking about. All right. For example, when we begin to talk about storyline, all right, during the course of the boot camp, you begin to understand certain things. So, for example, when we talk about the bullish environment of the market, all right, the two major characteristics of the bullish market is that price is going to create for us what we call consecutive higher highs and higher lows. All right, all of these are higher highs right here. All right, all of these are higher lows right here. This is higher low. All right, this higher high. All right, all right, and this right here higher low. All right, so all of these are higher lows, all of these are higher lows. So one of the things you need to understand is that in a bullish market environment, all right, every higher high is going to be considered as an external liquidity. So all these higher highs that you see right here, this higher high, this one right here, all right, this one that you see right here, this one that you see right here, they are all going to be considered as an external liquidity. They only serve one purpose. All right, they only serve just one purpose, and the purpose that they serve is that every higher high in a bullish environment serves as an external liquidity. All right. And the next one you see is that the consecutive higher lows that price begins to create. All of these higher lows, all of these higher lows, all of these higher lows are going to be considered as they are going to serve two purposes. One, it can also serve as internal liquidity, or it will serve as what? A structural point. So the higher low will serve as internal liquidity or a structural point, depending strictly on what we call the candle closure. All right. How the candle closes will determine if this particular higher low is going to be used as internal liquidity or structural points. How the candle closes below this particular low is going to determine if this low was used as internal liquidity or structural points. All right. So when we begin to talk about the subject of candle closure, the anatomy of a candle helps us to understand that a candle has what we call the body, and it also has what we call the wick. All right. We have what we call the body. We also have what we call the wick. So, for example, if price begins to reverse and price closes below this particular higher low with a body. All right. The moment we see the price has closed below this particular higher low with a body, what this means for us automatically is that this higher low was used as a structural point. And the moment a particular higher low is used as a structural point, it leads to what we call a break of structure. All right. It means that it leads to what we call a break of structure. So price closing below this particular higher low right here with a body means that we have a break of structure. It means that price has broken structure. So what does a break of structure mean? Break of structure simply means a change in direction. All right. That is what it simply means. It means a change in direction. All right. So if you say something is actually going to change direction, the question we want to ask ourselves is where is price coming from and where is actually price going? What was the direction of price before and what is going to be the new direction? So, like I said, the higher low can serve as both internal liquidity or structural point depending on how the candle closes. It's as simple as that. So, let's say, for example, price took out this particular higher high and price started to reverse and it closes below this particular higher low, all right, with a body. The moment it closes below this particular higher low with a body, what we have is a break of structure. All right, we have what we call a break of structure. So this break of structure that we have simply means a change in direction. Another word for break of structure is called market structure shift. Some people choose to use the word MSS, break of structure, BOS, and all of those things. So whether it is MSS or BOS, break of structure or market structure shift, what it simply means, all right, the story behind what it is actually telling you is that price is about to shift or price has shifted its direction. All right, price has moved from bullish to bearish or from bearish to bullish. All right, that is the primary purpose of a break of structure. So the moment price breaks structure, we are going to see that price is going to change from being bullish, then we are going to see that price is actually going to be bearish. So price is now going to be creating for us lower lows and lower highs. That is how price changes its structure. Do you understand? So remember what I was saying. I'm still trying to explain, the story, how you can interpret whatever price is doing using what we call the candle closure. So let's say, for example, we said that this particular higher low can serve as both internal liquidity and structural points. And we said it's going to serve as internal liquidity or structural point depending on how the candle closes. So if this particular candle closes below this higher low with a body, it means it was used as a structural point, which has led to a break of structure. But the moment it closes above it like this, all right, leaving us with the wick below that particular higher low. The moment it closes below it and leaves us with this wick like this. So what that means for us automatically is that this particular higher low was used as a what? It was used as internal liquidity. Why? Because of how the candle closed. This particular higher low is going to be used as a structural point when price closes below it with a body, but it will be used as internal liquidity when price closes above it, leaving us with a wick. All right. When price closes below it with a body, it means it was used as a structural point, which means it is going to lead us into what we call the break of structure, which is a change in market direction. All right. It means that price is actually going to change its direction. But the moment you see that price closes above it, leaving us with a wick, all right, the next thing we want to see that price is going to do is, well, the next thing we want to see that price is actually going to do is that price is actually going to continue in its intended direction. All right. And this is something we are going to be using to actually understand the concept of advanced market structure. So you will see that under the basics of market structure, the two major characteristics that price create for us is or gives to us is the higher high and the higher low. And every higher high serves only one purpose, which is that it's going to serve as external liquidity. And every higher low serves as a dual purpose. It can serve as both internal liquidity or a structural point, right? So price is going to serve this higher low. All these higher lows will serve as internal liquidity or structural points, strictly depending on how the candle closes. All right, strictly depending on how the candle closes. If it closes below it to the body, it means it was used as a structural point. But when it closes above it to the wick, leaving us with a wick, it means it was used as internal liquidity. So the primary purpose of me talking about the characteristics of what we call the characteristics of this bullish environment is to actually help us to understand, like I said, you will see the face of the market in the environment. All right. The environment tells you that the direction. The face of the market tells you what price is currently doing at the moment. So don't forget I said that every higher high in a bullish market environment is going to be considered your what? External liquidity. And every higher low will be considered your what? Internal liquidity or structural points. So how do we begin to combine the environment of structure and the face of structure to our own advantage? How do we use it to our own advantage? So let's say, for example, price creates higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high right here. All right. So we know for sure that this is a bullish environment. Now, don't forget, one of the things I said is that every higher high in a bullish environment is going to be considered your what? Is going to be considered your external liquidity. So the thing you need to know is that for every external liquidity that is taken, it leads to what we call the reversal. You remember that reversal is one of the face of the market, the face of structure, and every internal liquidity that price takes leads us to what we call the expansion. All right. So every expansion you see in the market is because of internal liquidity that has been taken, and every reversal you see is because of every external liquidity that is taken. So the moment you see internal liquidity is taken, price gives to us an expansion. The moment you see external liquidity is taken, price gives to us what we call a reversal. So now, how do we put this into play? Now, every higher low here, right here, is going to be considered your internal liquidity. Right now, let's not even use the subject of structural points leading to a break of structure. All of these higher lows right here are going to be used as internal liquidity. These are going to be internal liquidities. Internal liquidities right here. Internal liquidity right here. All right. This right here is an internal liquidity. So every higher high right here is going to be considered an external liquidity. Are you getting me now? So remember what I said. For every external liquidity that is taken, which means every time price takes out a higher high, that higher high serves as an external liquidity. And every time an external liquidity is taken, the next thing that price does is that it gives to us what we call a reversal. So that reversal, you see that this shows to us the two face of the market. All right. So you know that you can be in a bullish environment where price is actually buying. All right. You can be in a bullish environment. All right. And be in the reversal phase of that bullish environment. How do you know that you are in that reversal phase? That is what I'm trying to explain to us now. Every time price takes out a most recent higher high, that is when you begin to expect a reversal. All right. So you remember from the beginning, I said something that the market has two major responsibilities. And the two responsibilities of the market is to attack liquidity, rebalance, and hold imbalance at a specific pricing level. The specific pricing level we talk about is what we call key level. It's something that we are going to be learning about, during the course of the boot camp. I mean, it's going to be an amazing 5 days that we are going to spend together. All right. So every higher high that is taken is going to serve as external liquidity. The moment the external liquidity is taken, what do we expect the price is actually going to do? All right. Remember what I said. I said the market has two major purposes. Number one is to attack liquidity. Number two is to rebalance and hold imbalance at a specific pricing level. But let's look at the first purpose of the market, which is attacking liquidity. So price takes out this external liquidity, which is this most recent higher high. Now, what do we expect price to do? If price takes out an external liquidity, price is going to come to take out the what? Internal liquidity. And after price takes out internal liquidity, price rallies to take out the what? The external liquidity. All right. If we are together, I want us to drop some fire emoji in the chat. If you can still hear me, I want to be sure that we can all hear me. I want us to drop a fire emoji if you can still hear me. All right. Those of us that are streaming on YouTube, those of us that are joining live on here, if you can hear me, drop a fire emoji. And if we are really understanding what is being shared. All right. All right. So, and once again, for those that are just joining, I mean, we are paying attention to active participation, and we are using that to evenly distribute all the accounts, that we got from our partnership and sponsorship from all prop firms. All right. So we need your attention and your active participation as well. So every time price takes out an external liquidity, one of the things that you are actually going to see that price is actually going to do is that after price takes out external liquidity, price reverses, takes out internal liquidity, and the next thing price does is that it will expand to take out external liquidity again. So you can see from here that the expansion, all right, which is the face of the market, that this expansion you see, which is the second face of the market, only happens when price takes out an internal liquidity. And the reversal that you see here, which is this sell, all right, the sell that you see here is the reversal. The reversal only happens when external liquidity is being taken. It only happens when external liquidity is being taken. All right. So now, with what I'm actually showing to you also right here, you can see already that sometimes, many a times, you will find out that even when you are actually in a bullish environment, you are in a bullish market, all right, you will notice that sometimes you still position yourself wrongly. The reason is because even though you know that you're actually in a bullish market, one of the things I always love to tell my guys is that every time price takes out the most recent higher high right here, when price takes out this most recent higher high, this is not the best time to always look for buying opportunities. Now, this is the caveat. I'm not saying that we cannot get a buying opportunity. I'm saying that every time price takes out a higher high, it is not the best time to look for a buy. And I'm also not saying that you cannot get a buy. The reason why I'm saying that is that every time you see the price takes out a higher high, that is the time many a times you see the price is actually going to be doing what we call the reversal. All right. So how do you anticipate a reversal in the market? You anticipate a reversal after when external liquidity is being taken. So the moment price takes out this particular external liquidity right here, all right, which is the most recent higher high, the next thing we want to see the price is actually going to do is that we want to see the price is going to reverse. Reverse to do what? We are seeing that we want to see the price is actually going to reverse, take out internal liquidity, then give to us an expansion. So now the summary of what I'm trying to say is that you can use this environment of structure and the face of structure to your advantage simply by understanding that reversals only happen when external liquidity is taken and expansions only happen when internal liquidity is taken. That is what we are actually trying to say. All right. And now, the most beautiful part about this is, and this is something that many people don't talk about because I try as much as possible to debunk, what people always say. For example, let me start by saying that for the fact that something is popular doesn't mean, or it's something that has been said for a very long time, for years, doesn't make it true. To me, there is nothing like advanced market structure. All right. Because I understand that structure is still structure. But one of the things that people don't actually understand, all right, the summary of advanced market structure is what I just showed to you here. Everything that people talk about advanced market structure is what I just explained to you here. And what I'm trying to say about advanced market structure is simple. The concept about advanced market structure is simply to let you know, or the summary about advanced market structure is just to let us know that price is looking to attack liquidity from external to internal, from internal, then price moves to external. So if you remember, now, if you understand that summary that I just gave to you, that the concept of advanced market structure is built on this simple logic that I just explained to you. The moment you understand the environment of structure and the face of structure and you know how to position yourself, you will understand that everything about advanced market structure is built on this note. All right. So what does that mean for us? All right. You know that there are people tell you about advanced market structure. All right. Don't forget what I said. That the summary of advanced market structure is the price is looking to move from price is looking to bounce from one point of liquidity to another. So price wants to bounce from one point of liquidity to another, which means that if price takes out an external liquidity, price is coming to take out internal. From internal, price is going for external. All right. And times when price doesn't have an internal liquidity, then you now begin to hear words like engineered liquidity. All right. So which is something I'm going to be explaining briefly before we talk about inefficiencies and then we'll look at some chart examples. So now, if you look at this, all right, people will tell you that there are two types of advanced market structure. All right. This is the type one. All right. They'll tell you that this is the type one. All right. Something like this, then something like this. So let me explain what this concept of this type one means. This, what they call this, what people call advanced market structure by using this, they call it the type one. And they call this one the type two. Price gives to us a sweep of liquidity. All right. A break of structure, engineered liquidity. Then price comes back, take out the engineered liquidity and continues to move to the upside. So now let me explain what they mean by advanced market structure just by showing this pattern. All right. And I'm also going to be exposing to us the logic behind it, how we can use it to our advantage. All right. What is the logic behind it? So look at this now. Look at this. So what is the concept behind this? Just by understanding what I've already explained to us on the concept of environment of structure and the face of structure, you should already understand how. All right. Now you should clearly understand the logic already behind what price has actually done here. It's simple. See, trading is hard, but you need a simple solution to it. All right. That is why I try as much as possible. We try as much as possible every time we have a live stream not to overcomplicate our trading approach. We try as much as possible not to overcomplicate our trading approach. This is what I'm trying to talk about. Now, what is the concept behind this type one? What is the concept behind this type two? It's simple. Look at what price has did. This is a bullish environment right here. All right. This right here is also a bullish environment. You can see. All right. So what would you notice that price has actually done right here? Look at this. External liquidity taking, price started to give to us reversal. Internal liquidity taking, price started to give to us expansion. This is the logic behind advanced market structure type one. The same thing applies to advanced market structure type two. External liquidity right here has been taken, which is this high. Price started to reverse. Then price now traded to the upside as if it was coming to take out this old high. But as long as price did not take out this particular high, which is this external liquidity, The low that has been created, all right, becomes your engineered liquidity. So that is the low that price comes to take out, then price continues to move to the upside. So, but what is the logic? External liquidity taken, price reverses, then price comes back to take out the internal liquidity, then goes for external liquidity again right here. So when you look at this particular two, when you put these two side by side, you understand that the concept of advanced market structure simplify your trading. The moment you are able to simplify your trading, everything, I mean, simplicity breeds clarity. Yes, somebody just said that on YouTube. It says simplicity brings clarity. It's simple. The concept of advanced market structure is summarized into one simple sentence. That price is looking to bounce from one point of liquidity to another point. What are the points of liquidity? External to internal, from internal to external. All right. So when price takes out external, you know that the next liquidity that price should take out is going to be the internal. And when price takes out internal, you know that the next liquidity that price should actually take out is going to be the external. And that is the principle. That is the logic behind advanced market structure. So now let's take one of the logic. So I'm going to explain to us what would you notice here about the type 1 and the type 2 of advanced market structure. You would notice two things. You would notice they have a similarity, and you will notice also they have a difference. What is the difference? Number one, you will notice that the type 1 of advanced market structure has two breakouts. This is the first breakout to the upside. This is the second breakout again to the upside. The type 1 has two breakouts, and the type 2 has only one breakout. Did you notice this? Now, that is the difference. The difference between the two, the difference between these two is that type 1 has two breakouts and the type 2 has only one breakout. All right. Now, what is the similarity between the two of them? The similarity between the two of them is that the first breakout is what creates internal liquidity. So every time you are trying to spot where is the next external liquidity or internal liquidity that price should actually come to take before price expands to the upside, this is what I'm trying to show to you. The first breakout is always what creates internal liquidity, whether it is the type 1 or whether it is the type 2. The first breakout creates internal liquidity. The first breakout here, sweep of liquidity, the break of structure, which is the first breakout, is what creates your internal liquidity. Under the type 2, this liquidity is called engineered liquidity right here. So this first breakout creates your internal liquidity. The first breakout creates your internal liquidity as well. That is what makes it similar. But what makes it different is that under the type 1, we have what we call the first breakout. We have two breakouts, all right? And under the type 2, we have only one breakout. So the first breakout creates internal liquidity. The second breakout creates our external liquidity, which primarily becomes our target. That is for the concept of advanced market structure type 1. And under the concept of advanced market structure type 2, we have what we call the sweep of liquidity, the break of structure, only one break. And that one break is what creates our internal liquidity. All right. Then external liquidity is also stay standing, because when price takes out internal liquidity, the next thing you want to see that price is actually going to do is expand to the upside for price to take out this external liquidity. Now, this is the logic. All right. It's very simple, right? And yet it produces, I mean, amazing, crazy results. All right. So now let's talk a bit about the concept of inefficiencies. All right, because we really want to know about inefficiencies. We want to know exactly what does inefficiency mean in the marketplace. All right. So if you remember, one of the things I've said is that I said that the market has two major responsibilities. All right. The two major responsibilities of the market is to attack liquidity and also to rebalance and hold imbalance at a specific pricing level. We need to know how imbalances are created. One of the things you need to know about the marketplace is that if we say we are in a bullish environment, you will never see price buying like this. And if we say that we are in a bearish environment, you will never see price selling like this. If it were so, everybody by now would be a trillionaire. Everybody would be a billionaire by now. Because all you have to do every day when you wake up is just buy, 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 buy. Yes, somebody said simple logic, massive results. It's as simple as that. In fact, one of the things we always say in with myself and my guys is that the simplest instruction is what yields the best result. All right. So we can also say simple logic, massive results. We can also use that as well. All right. That is what it simply means. That is what it simply means. That is what it's actually trying to say to us. It's as simple as that. All right. So now, when we talk about the subject of inefficiencies, because we really want to understand how fair value gaps are created, why do price come back to rebalance and hold imbalance at a specific pricing level? What is the reason? And it is one of those reasons that I want to give to us today. All right. So whenever we are in a bullish environment, you will never see that the price is actually going to be buying like this. I mean, it's never just going to be one straight line. And whenever the market is actually selling, you will never see the price just selling like this. No, it doesn't happen that way. One of the things you would notice about the market is that when it buys, it must sell. Even if it buys so long, it must still sell. All right. It will buy again, it will sell, and all of those things. So it will buy, it will sell. The primary purpose for buying and selling in the marketplace is to create what we call efficiencies, to make the price action efficient. We need to make the price action efficient. That is the most important thing. That is why we have what we call buyers and sellers in the market. So in layman understanding, every time you go to the market, for example, you go to the market, you will never see that you go to the market and the only people you meet in the market are sellers. No, when you go to any market, a local market, international market around you, you will find out that there are only two people in the marketplace. All right. We have the buyers, we have the sellers. Okay, let's just say we have like three people in the marketplace: the buyers, the sellers, and the onlookers. So the onlookers are those people that are neither buying, neither selling, they are just looking around, they are just parading around. So if we consider those type of people, they are going to be considered those that are consolidating. They are not buying, they are not selling, they are just within the environment of the market, not buying, not selling. But the two most important people in the marketplace you will always find are the buyers and the sellers. So the reason why we have buyers and the sellers across any type of market, whether it is forex, whether it is local or international market across the world, the reason why we have those two types of people is because of the efficiency it brings to the market. No matter the number of, and when we talk about efficiency, we are not saying that the number of buyers must equal the number of sellers. No, that is not what we are saying. Sometimes you go to the marketplace and you see that the number of people selling outnumbers those that are actually buying. All right. What makes the market efficient is that there are buyers and there are sellers. It doesn't matter the percentage of buyers and sellers, the number of buyers and sellers. All right. What really matters is that there are buyers and there are sellers. So you will see that, like I said, in a bullish market, you will never see the market just buying, and in a bearish market, you will never see that the market is actually just selling. No. All right. If you see the market just buying like this is what we call inefficiency. And every time you see that the market is just every time you see that the market is just selling like this, it's an inefficiency as well. All right. This is an inefficiency. And one of the ways, the only way that this inefficiency becomes efficient is that the market has to make room. So the market has to make room for what we call, the market has to make room for both buyers and also for sellers as well. So what do I mean? When price buys, price sells. All right. Price buys, price sells. The moment you see that price has actually bought like this, all right, all of these buys that you see, it's an inefficiency. All right. This is an inefficient market at the moment. This is an inefficient market at the moment. All right. And one of the ways you will notice inefficiencies is that it leaves for us, it is the inefficiency that creates for us what we call the fair value gap. Some people choose to call it imbalances. So you will see that the market, after it expands, it will just give to us, multiple buying opportunities to the upside. Now, this multiple buying opportunities to the upside is an inefficient price action. All of this that you see from this bottom to this top is an inefficient price action. So that is why you will see that even after price takes out external liquidity, price now tries as much as possible to bring efficiency to the market. And now you will see that you will never, or most of the time, 90 to 95% of the time, you will never find the number of sellers equaling to the number of buyers, except price wants to change its direction completely. So that is why you will see that many a times, whenever price is actually reversing, all right, price is only going to just reverse a bit, all right, then price is just going to continue in its intended direction. So what that means is that even after the inefficiency, the little sell that you see, even if the sell is as little as this, this price action has become efficient already. The price action here has already become efficient because now we had buyers and now we already have sellers. Then price now continues again with an inefficient price action by giving to us only buyers. Now that price action has to become efficient by giving to us sellers. And that is how we came about the concept of price giving to us higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. That is also how we came about the concept of expansion and reversals. All right. The reversals and expansion is just to let us know that there are inefficiencies in the market that needs to become efficient. And the only way to become efficient is that price has to make room for both buyers and sellers. And the same thing as it is in a bullish scenario, that is how it is in a bearish scenario. So what that means is that when price is selling, no matter how price sells, price has to give to us a reversal. And like I said, the reversal doesn't have to equal the expansion. Sometimes the reversal might just be as little as this. And the moment you see the price has given to us a little reversal, the expansion is already done. The next thing you see the price is going to do again, inefficient price action, more sells to the downside, price continues again, gives to us a reversal, continues to the downside. So all you see are inefficiencies becoming efficient. And one of the ways that the inefficient price action becomes efficient, never forget this. One of the ways that the inefficient price action becomes efficient is by price rebalancing old imbalances. So one of the things you will always see that price is actually going to do is that price is always going to create imbalances. Price will always create imbalances. And it creates the imbalances through the inefficient price action. So let's look at some chart examples so you see what I'm trying to talk about. So let me show to you guys some chart examples. I mean, this is really going to be, I mean, you guys are in for one of the best moments, all right? You are in for the best moments. So if you look at, for example, let's say this is Japanese 225, all right? So look at this. I need you to see this. Look at this. All right. So you remember, okay, this Japanese 225 on the 4 hours time frame now, captures everything that I feel like you should know, or it captures everything that I've been saying about structure. Now, for example, if you look at what price has been doing, let me pick it from here, right? Look at this. I need you to see this. Now, price peak from here, higher high, higher low, higher high, break of structure. How do we know that we have a break of structure? Right? You see that one of the ways you can spot a very good break of structure is when you use the line chart. A valid break of structure is known through a body to body. So that is why sometimes we use the line chart. And the primary purpose why we use the line chart is because the primary purpose why we use the line chart is because the line chart tells us that the volume is in the body, not in the wicks. The volume is in the body, not in the wicks. So when we use the line chart shows to us. So we use line charts to spot good break of structures. We use line charts to spot breakouts. We also use line charts to spot, our key levels. All right. We use it to spot our key levels. But when we use the candles chart also shows us the complete anatomy of a candle. It shows to us the wicks. It shows to us the body. All right. So now, if you look at this from here, we had higher low, higher high, higher low. We had this higher high. Then the next thing you see that price actually gave to us was a break of structure. All right. Now, you can see that the reason why we have a break of structure is that if you look to the body to body right here, this was a body to body break of structure. The reason why we have a body to body break of structure, never forget what I told you. I said one of the ways you see that we have a break of structure is that price is going to close below that higher low. Okay, for example, let's use this one based on what we have been talking about. Price closes below it to the body. You can see how price closed below it to the body right here. And the moment price closed below it with the body, it means that this particular higher low was used as a what? As a structural point. And now that it has been used as a structural point, it means that it leads us to what we call a break of structure. So break of structure simply means price is not going to be bullish anymore. Price is going to be bearish. The next thing you will now spot is the inefficient price action. Look at this. Inefficient price action that we had here. Only selling opportunities. We had only sales. Now, for this price to continue in its intended direction, look at this. Only sales that we had here. This price action that we have here after the break of structure needs to become efficient. And one of the ways it will become efficient is that it needs to rebalance this old imbalance that has been created. Look at this imbalance here that has been created. The moment price came to rebalance this old imbalance, remember what we said. The moment price rebalances old imbalance at a specific pricing level, look at what price did. Price then started to drop. Can we see that now? So the moment price rebalance and old imbalance at a specific pricing level, the next thing that we saw that price started to do is that now this price action is now efficient. Now you can see from where it is. All right, you can see clearly from where it is already that there's an inefficient price action here. This price action that is inefficient needs to become efficient. And one of the ways that inefficient price action becomes efficient is that it has to rebalance the old imbalance it is going to that it has created. It rebalances the old imbalance at a specific pricing level. So look at this again. Then after the break of structure comes a breakout, right? The break of structure changes the direction. The breakout, this is a breakout that followed. All right. Now this breakout is just a continuation of price in the new direction. So if you notice what price has done, we had more breakouts, more breakouts. All right, more breakouts. We had more breakouts. And look at this again. After the breakout, what would you notice that price has actually done? Look at this. Price gave to us a break of structure right here. Look at this. Did you see that break of structure? So you remember what I told you? This is a bearish structure that we have right here. All right. This bearish structure that we have here gives to us two major characteristics. It gives to us the lower low, and it also gives to us the lower high. The lower low serves as external liquidity. The lower high serves as internal liquidity. All right. This lower high is going to serve as the lower highs in a bearish structure is going to serve as both internal liquidity and structural points, depending on the candle closure. Now, did you notice how this particular candle closed above this particular wick? Right? It closed above it with a body. It means that now we have broken structure. Now that it has broken structure, we only have one thing to ask ourselves, that now that we have actually broken structure, all right, what exactly are we expecting the price is actually going to do for us? That is the question we want to ask ourselves. Now that we have actually broken structure, all right, the break of structure now means the price is going to change direction. We were bearish, we broke structure, we are going to be bullish. All right. So now we were not just bullish, or we didn't just break structure and we are not just going to change. Now, are you seeing how we are, one of the ways that I'm able to interpret whatever price is actually doing in the marketplace at the moment? Did you notice that even after the break of structure, you can spot the inefficient price action right here? Can you spot this inefficient price action here from this low? All of these buying opportunities. Now, this inefficient price action needs to become efficient. And one of the ways it has to become efficient is that it needs to rebalance this old imbalance here that it has created. All right, look at this old imbalance here that was created. Look at this. And now, what candle? Look at this candle. This particular candle was the candle that came to rebalance that old imbalance at a specific pricing level. So let's mark out the pricing level that is overlapping inside of that particular imbalance. Look at this. So we have a bullish open close that got disrespected twice, but it is overlapping inside of that particular imbalance. So, but you will notice something. We didn't just break structure. We have an inefficient price action. The inefficient price action that we have here is as a result of us having only buying opportunities. We had only buying opportunities. Now, for us to make this inefficient price action become efficient, price has to make room for more sales. And the place that price would make room for more sales is by coming into that inefficient price action, coming into the fair value gap created by the inefficient price action and making it efficient. It's as simple as that. So look at what price did. This particular candle made this price action efficient. It came into it twice. Are you seeing this now? Came into that imbalance twice, that fair value gap twice. And look at what we had here. Look at this. We had inefficient price action, which was an expansion as well. Look at this. Did you notice this? Inefficient price action. We sold. The essence of this sell that you see is to give to us what we call an efficient price action again. So if you look at what price did, we had a break of structure. The break of structure simply means that price is not going to be bullish anymore, but price is now going to be bearish. All right. So look at what price did. Price reversed, expanded, which is the breakout, gave to us another breakout, reversal, breakout, reversal, breakout. So look at what price is actually doing. Now, if you notice how the inefficient price actions are being created, look at this one. All right. So we broke structure from here. All right. We had a break of structure from here. We had a break of structure from here. We created an inefficient price action. The inefficient price action became efficient the moment we rebalance this old imbalance. Look at this. This inefficient price action became efficient the moment we had all of these reversals. When you move to a much lower time frame, you'll find out that there was an imbalance here that price actually came to rebalance. When you look at this inefficient, look at this again. Inefficient price action. This inefficient price action became efficient because price came to rebalance the old imbalance that was created. So you can see this old imbalance right here. Look at this imbalance. See, price came to rebalance that old imbalance at a specific pricing level. Remember what I've always said. The market has two major responsibilities. All right. The market has two major responsibilities. That is to attack liquidity and also to rebalance an old imbalance at a specific. All right. At a specific pricing level. So if you see, you can see what price is actually doing right here. If you move to a much lower time frame, can you see how price rebalances an old imbalance at a specific pricing level? Inefficient price action needs to become efficient, and that is where the reversal comes in. The moment the reversal is done, internal liquidity is taken, rebalancing of an old imbalance at a specific pricing level, price expands to the upside again. Same thing happened here. Now we have moved to the 2 hours time frame on JPY 225. The moment we had this break of structure right here, all right, the moment we had this particular break of structure, higher high, higher low, higher high. We had a break of structure right here. All right. The moment we had the break of structure, I'm paying attention again to this inefficient price action right here because of all of these sales. The inefficient price action has to become efficient with by rebalancing this old imbalance that is resting here. So we are rebalancing that old imbalance at a specific pricing level. And can you notice? Did you notice what price came to do? The moment price came to rebalance that old imbalance at a specific pricing level, look at the massive drop. Look at it. The same thing happened here again. Inefficient price action from here to this point, and look at what price did. We did not sell again until price came to rebalance this old imbalance at a specific pricing level. So you see this again, came back to this specific pricing level, and you can see the entire drop. Same thing here. We broke structure, price came back, rebalanced the old imbalance. Same thing happened here, and that is what price has always sought to do. If you come even to as beautiful as it is for gold, when you look at gold, gold happens to be one of my favorite pairs. All right, you would notice something on gold. All right, you will notice something on gold. Why do we have all of these sales right here? All of these sales that started to happen here. All of these sales that started to happen here. The story behind all of those sales is in one simple place. Is in one simple place. Look at this. You need to pay attention to the structural formation first. Look at this. Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We had a break of structure. Then we had a breakout. Look at all of these massive breakouts. This massive breakout, even to this point. Now, you need to pay attention to, we didn't just break out. All right? We didn't just break out. I needed to pay attention to the story behind what price actually did here. Look at what price has actually done here. Look at this. Guys, pay attention. Now, I want to start from here. I'm showing to you not just structure, I'm showing to you how to take advantage of just the basic knowledge. With simple instruction, we give to you one of the best results. So we broke structure here. We were bullish to the left-hand side. The moment we broke structure, the break of structure signifies a change in direction. The next thing you want to pay attention to, look at this, inefficient price action, right? Only one single candle gave to us an inefficient price action because this single candle sold massively. It sold massively. Now, it didn't just sell massively. Look at this. It now created an imbalance that needed to be rebalanced. Remember one of the things I told us that one of the things that and one of the ways that inefficient price action becomes efficient is by that it is going to create an imbalance, and that imbalance, which is also what people call fair value gap, it is that imbalance that price then comes back to rebalance at a specific pricing level. So this inefficient price action needs to become efficient. All right. And one of the ways it becomes efficient is that price would have to come back to rebalance this old imbalance at a specific pricing level. The specific pricing level becomes this A-shaped key level here, right here. See, I promise you, only with this basic knowledge that I've showed you on structure and inefficient price action becoming efficient, you have a trading model already. You have a trading model already. You have a trading model already. Let's drop some fire emoji if we are getting value. All right. If we are still following, let's drop some fire emoji. Are we still together? Guys, let's drop some fire emoji if we are understanding this. So what I just showed to you guys is in itself alone, it's a trading model. So it even gives you the logic. Listen, guys, see what I'm showing to you also explains why people trade fair value gaps. Now, if you trade fair value gap like every other person, you might not get the same results that they are getting. And the primary purpose why you might not get the same result, or the primary reason why you might not get the same result as they are getting, is because you don't understand the logic why they want to see price rebalance a particular imbalance. And I'm giving to you that logic on a platter of gold. Inefficient price action after a breakout, that inefficient price action needs to become efficient. And one of the ways it will become efficient is that is either it comes to rebalance the old imbalance, which is also what people choose to call fair value gap. And see, guys, let me tell you, this is a trading space. You don't need too much English. You are not here for English. You are here to make money. Now, money carry you come here, no be English. Do you understand? So whether you choose to call it fair value gap, whether you choose to call it imbalance, whichever one, the major thing is that you know how to use it to your advantage. This simple thing that I just showed to you right here, on its own, is a trading model. And I'll show to you what I mean by it's a trading model. So look at this. Let's take it one more time. So we pick from here higher high, higher low, higher high, break of structure. All right. Now, the break of structure, we didn't just break structure, all right? Pay attention, because I'm going to be showing to you guys more examples. We didn't just break structure. This is an inefficient price action because of this massive sale that we had here. Now, this inefficient price action needs to become efficient. And the only way this inefficient price action can become efficient is by rebalancing the let me tell you one thing about price. One of the things you need to know about price, and that is where patience comes in. Price would always show to you what it wants to do. It will show, so you have to be patient for it to show you exactly what it wants to do. The moment you see that inefficient price action has been created, you know that inefficient price action needs to become efficient. And the only way it becomes efficient is that it has to rebalance the old imbalance or the fair value gap it has created. So this is the fair value gap here. So now the next thing you will remember, you will say, oh, Fortman has always said to us, what is it? It's like an anthem for us. The market has two major responsibilities: attacking liquidity, rebalancing old imbalance at a specific pricing level. Attacking liquidity, rebalancing old imbalance at a specific key level. All right? Attacking liquidity, rebalancing an old imbalance at a specific pricing level. So this is an inefficient price action that needs to become efficient. All right? So what will price do? Price has to come to rebalance this old imbalance. And the primary purpose of price coming to rebalance this old imbalance is to make this price action efficient. Then price continues to go in its intended direction. So look at this. It's coming to rebalance this old imbalance at a specific pricing level. This is the key level right here. That is an A-shaped key level that got disrespected twice. So look at what price came to do. Rebalance this old imbalance, and then price started to drop. Guys, I need you to pay attention. Now, as price started to reverse to rebalance this old imbalance, pay attention to the structural formation. Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high right here. We broke structure. Did you see how we broke structure again? We had a minor break of structure right here. Remember how I told you, you will know we have a break of structure. Price will close below it with a body. Did you see how price closed below it with a body? So we broke structure here, which signifies a change in direction. Then we now had another break of structure. If you pay attention to this entire structural formation right here, if you move to the line chart, you will actually see that there was a break of structure right here. This. All right. This was the break of structure, but because of context, for context sake, because of what we are trying to drive at, you can see this right here. We broke structure. So this price action is now efficient. The reason why this price action is efficient is that the fair value gap or imbalance that price has created has been rebalanced. So price needs to continue in its intended direction. Now, because price wants to continue in its intended direction, look at what price did. It gave to us another break of structure. Guys, open your eyes. Pay attention. The next thing after the break of structure, inefficient price action again. Are you seeing this inefficient price action? The inefficient price action now created for us an imbalance. Look at this. Another imbalance of fair value gap. Look at this, guys. Did you see this? Did you see this? What did price come to do? Did you notice that price would not continue in its intended direction until that imbalance has been rebalanced? Please mute your mic. All right? Just mute your mic. I mean, it's a core principle. Yeah. All right? Are you seeing it now? Price only started to move the moment the imbalance has been rebalanced. The moment the imbalance was rebalanced, boom, price started to sell. We had another break of structure, inefficient price action because we had sales. This inefficient price action, you now begin to tell yourself, okay, this inefficient price action has to become efficient. And the only way to become efficient is that it is going to create for you a fair value gap. Now, it created a fair value gap. Look at what price did. It came back to rebalance that old imbalance at a specific pricing level. Look at it here. Look at it. A-shaped key level that got disrespected. Price came back to that same level. All right. Let me point out that same level to you. Look at this. Price came back to that same level. And the moment price rebalanced that particular old imbalance at that specific pricing level, my brothers and sisters, look at this drop. Massive drop. Look at this massive drop to this side. Down to this point. All of these sales came as a result of what? Inefficient price action that needed to become efficient by rebalancing old imbalance at a specific pricing level. And look at what price did. Price dropped. Now, we now want to pay attention to the fact that, okay, guys, we are having all of these sales. What was responsible for all of these sales that we saw here? What was responsible for all of these sales that we saw here? Simple. Look at this. You remember this entire sell move you know already that is an inefficient price action. and price has to still make it efficient one way or the other. And the only way that price will make it efficient is that this inefficient price action always leaves for us what we call fair value gaps that needs to be rebalanced. Look at this. Fair value gap already has been created. Are you seeing what price did again? Look at this. Price created a fair value gap, rebalanced the old imbalance at a specific pricing level. Are you seeing this? Repetition. You see why? Well, that is one of the major reasons why I trade gold a lot. This is one of the major reasons why I love gold. And it's not just for gold, it happens everywhere across all the peers. You will see it happening everywhere. So all of these sales that you see here simply came from this inefficient price action that needed to become efficient by by rebalancing of this old imbalance at a specific pricing level. All right. So look at what price did here again. So look at this. Pay attention to the structural formation. Higher high, higher low. All right. Higher high, higher low, higher high. Break of structure. Look at these guys. So break of structure, inefficient price action. The inefficient price action became efficient because of this reversal. When you move to the 4 hours, the 3 hours, the 2 hours, you will see that there was a fair value gap that was here. That price came back to. All right. Rebalance it at a specific pricing level. All right. That this inefficient price action now has become efficient because there was a reversal. Now there was no fair value gap on the daily, but when you go to the 4 hours, the 3 hours, the 2 hours, the 1 hour, you will find out that there was a particular what? There was a particular imbalance here. And look at this. Look at this. Remember what I told you? After the break of structure comes a breakout. Look at this. Breakout, breakout. The breakout created something for us. Look at these guys. Inefficient price action. The inefficient price action created what? All of the sales that happened here, it came from what? This fair value gap. See, I've said it over and over again, and I'm also going to still say it. See, there are three things, or there are three core principles, or three core there are three core principles that need what do they call it now? That you need to have at the back of your mind. All right. There are three things that you must always remind yourself every day. The three things you need to always remind yourself, there should be your major arsenal in trading, your major arsenal. I'm not talking about Arsenal as a football club now. You know what I mean by Arsenal. Well, let's just celebrate with them. All right. The three things you must never forget. Number one is that you need only one trading model. Number two, you need to train yourself to be able to repeat that same process of that trading model. You must train yourself to be able to repeat the thought process of that trading model. Number three is what we call increased risk. Increased risk is what does the heavy lifting. So your major concern at the beginning is not increased risk. Your major concern is to, number one, find an edge. Number two is to repeat the thought process of that edge. And number three is increased risk. That increased risk comes as a result of the consistency from number one and two, which is by you identifying your model, your trading model, and also being able to repeat it over a couple of period of time, sometimes 6 months and 1 year. So you can see that is why somebody who can start with a 5K prop firm account can scale up to even max allocation with a prop firm because he was able to satisfy the first two conditions. After tonight's call, go and write it down. All right, go and write it down in your trading journal. There are three things that you need to focus on. Number one, you need to focus on knowing your edge, mastering your edge. Number two, you need to focus on repeating the process week in, week out, month in, month out. And number three is increased risk. You don't focus on increased risk yet. You focus first on the first, that is number one and two. All right. But it is the increased risk that does the heavy lifting. All right. That does the heavy lifting. So look at what price did here. Inefficient price action to the downside. This inefficient price action needs to become efficient, and the only way it becomes efficient is by price rebalancing an old imbalance that was created. So look at this. Price rebalance the old imbalance. All right. At a specific key level, right? Look at this. This is a key level that we call plug and play. A key level that has sponsored a move. We also call it a key level with history. So look at this. Yes, edge, repetition, and increase risk, edge, repetition, and increase risk. So, guys, see, these are the things that we are going to be using. All right. These are the things that we are going to be using to even pick people for the giveaway, because we want to see your active participation. We want to see the things that you are learning. That is how we get to know that you are actually learning from the day one down to the day 5. We want to see your notes. We want to see your key points. Share it, make a tweet about it, tag me, tag all the speakers and all of those things. And we have people that are actually watching. So look at this. A key level that has history sponsored a move, got disrespected, overlapping instead of an imbalance. Inefficient price action becomes efficient. Look at the drop. All right. I can show you multiple ways. Look at this. Pay attention to this as well. You can see this. We had a lower low, lower high, lower low. We had a break of structure. The moment we have this particular break of structure, you are paying attention next to the inefficient price action. All right. Inefficient price action needs to become efficient. All right. So for this inefficient price action to become efficient, it will create for us what we call a fair value gap. Look at this. Fair value gap is created here. All right. And you can see price came, did a complete rebalancing at a specific, it did a complete rebalancing at a specific key level right here. All right. Let's say we use this one. But you can see the moment we did that complete rebalancing, you can see how we bought. All right. And the same thing applies here as well. Look at this, guys. Look at this. All of these sales that is happening here, all of these sales. Pay attention to the structural formation. Higher high, higher low, higher high, break of structure. The reason why we broke structure is that we closed below it with a body. All right, we closed below with a body. Now that we have broken structure, we close below with a body. All right. Now, after the break of structure, I'm paying attention to the fact that there's going to be an inefficient price action. Inefficient price action needs to become efficient. And one of the ways it becomes efficient is that it will come back to rebalance the old imbalance it has created. So that is why you see trading, the moment, see, if you understand how to tell a story, or like you understand storytelling a bit, all right, you'll be able to understand what price is actually doing. All right. And that is why I always emphasize on something, that your trading has to move from expectation to execution. Your trading has to move from expectation to execution, which means that if your expectation must be ABC, your execution must be XYZ. The moment your expectations are met, execute without hesitation. You only execute without hesitation only after your expectations have been met. The moment your expectations, which is your ABC. So what is my ABC? Sweep of liquidity, break of structure, inefficient price action. I'm executing when I'm seeing that price is coming to rebalance and old imbalance at a specific pricing level. Are you seeing? Are you seeing how you are being able to use storytelling to be able to simplify your trading? All right. And your trading is moving from expectation to execution. So we are rounding off already. All right, because we are supposed to stay for 1 hour, but I think we have exceeded our time. All right. We will begin to round off now. So you can see inefficient price action. What did you notice here? The inefficient price action came to be made efficient by rebalancing the old imbalance, and you can notice the momentum push to the downside. So notice how momentum push comes in after price action. The imbalance has been rebalanced. Drop. Look at this. Drop. Look at this. Drop. All of this. All of this. All of this. All of the drops you see. All of those drops you see. All of those drops you see. All of those drops. This is going to be the best 5 days. I promise you. Schofield is coming. Kelvin King is coming. Omotayo is coming. FZ is coming. FZ is coming. So it's going to really see, these guys are really going to, they are not holding anything back. They are not holding anything back. I've told FZ, I've told Schofield, I've told them to pour out as much as they know. As much as they know. Because we are not, the reason why we are doing this is we are not just giving people the knowledge. We are also equipping you guys with equity, right? With prop firms. And big shout out to all our sponsors, Goat Funded Trader, Equity Edge, Blueberry Funded, MEC Funded, all right? These guys have chosen to partner with us because of the work that they see that we are doing in the community, all right, in the trading industry, across the nation, across the world, and all of those things. And they have chosen to partner with us. And We want each and every one of you to be able to take advantage of this. Pay attention to every session, take notes, all right, and actively participate. All right. I mean, those giveaway accounts are also going to be evenly distributed. We will pick people that are actively participating, across all our social media platforms. We are also paying attention to those that are paying attention, those that are actually actively participating on YouTube and also on Zoom as well. Somebody said, Big Fault on YouTube. I have a question. How do you know the best key level to use in rebalancing and holding balance? All right. One of the ways one of the ways, I mean, there are other ways, but one of the ways the best key level to use, right, is a key level with history. Any key level that has sponsored a buy move or a sell move before is a very good level to use. Let me show you what I mean. You can go back and study it. See, guys. Okay, I didn't even show you guys this example because it was one of the trades I took over the week. Look at this: lower low, lower high, lower low. We had a break of structure. The moment we had a break of structure, I'm paying attention to the fact that I have this inefficient price action that is resting here. This inefficient price action would only become efficient when price comes back to rebalance the holding balance. So you have this holding balance that is resting here. All right. You have this holding balance that is resting here. All right. Holding balance. So price needs to come back to rebalance this holding balance at a specific pricing level. So I'm answering the question that somebody asked. So which key level am I going to say is the best? Simple. I'm looking to the left to look for a key level with history. Look at this. This is a V-shaped key level that has sponsored a buy. One, it got disrespected. It sponsored a sell. This is a key level with history because it sponsored a buy, sponsored a sell, then it got disrespected. Now it is overlapping inside of the imbalance that has been created with this from this inefficient market. Look at this. Price came into it, started to rebalance it. So this was one of the buys I took, and I was targeting this particular high right here. This particular daily high is an old high before price started to move. So there was even an entry as well that I took. Also, I think I posted that entry on Twitter as well. There was an entry I took that came from same thought process. I think it was on the 30 minutes. Let me show you guys as we begin to round off. All right. Let's drop some fire emoji if you've been able to get a lot of value from this. Let's drop some fire emoji. All right. So look at this. Look at this. So when price came back into this, the moment price came back into this was one of the entries I took. I think I shared it on Twitter. All right. So look at this, guys. Inefficient price action from this buy to this point. We had only buyers. It became a buyer's market. So it's an inefficient price action. I think the clear entry was like on the 1 hour time frame. All right. So just follow me, guys. Yes, it was on the 1 hour time frame. Yes. Look at this inefficient price action. The inefficient price action, simple. I just told myself, inefficient price action needs to become efficient. And the only way to become efficient is by rebalancing this holding balance. Look at this. You wait for the expectation to be complete. ABC has been complete now. Inefficient price action needs to become efficient, and price needs to rebalance and holding balance at a specific key level. So I use this particular key level right here. Like I said, I was targeting the high. All right. So look at this. My entry came from here, and I targeted this daily high. You can see this. So what does this teach you? It shows to us that the moment external liquidity was taken, price started to reverse to the downside. So you see this. My entry was built around this rebalancing of an holding balance that was created from an inefficient price action, sweep of liquidity, and rebalancing of an holding balance had a specific key level, and price went straight from internal to external. All right, internal to external. So never forget, the market has two major responsibilities. The market has two major responsibilities. What are the responsibilities? To attack liquidity and to rebalance an holding balance at a specific key level. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the day one of the Final Quest Bootcamp. All right. If you go back to pay attention to all of these things that I've said, go back tonight and study as much as possible. You would find out that your trading can be as simple as possible. Remember, the simplest instructions is what yields the best results.